This is Moving Soulward, the podcast about growing a business at the intersection of strategy, spirituality, and self care. We're your hosts, Katie McLaughlin, your Be Good guide, and
Maria Spiralis, the lunar lawyer. We love a good inspirational story, but we're not interested in just profits or bottom lines. Though don't get us wrong, those things are important.
in Moving Soulward, expect to hear conversations with entrepreneurs who are at all different stages of building a business, with two important things in common. Success means something different to each of them, and you don't have to sell your soul to get what you want.
Prioritizing stillness, systems, energies, and service are all valuable and necessary parts of mindful entrepreneurship. Now grab your favorite card deck, a warm mug, spark up a candle, and listen in. Welcome back to Moving Soulward. Today's guest, Crystal, is a psychic medium who knows firsthand what it's like to hit a wall while trying to force success through plans and logic. Her breakthrough came when she let go of control, discovered her psychic connection, and realized true purpose comes from following our guides and higher self, not just our minds.
Now she helps spiritual entrepreneurs tap into their intuitive powers, replacing outdated tactics with soul aligned strategies for fulfillment and success. Get ready to learn how to trust your higher guidance and step into a new way of doing business. Welcome, Crystal. It's so great to have you. I can't wait. I've chatted on your podcast. Me and Maria both have gone on your podcast. Now you're on ours. I'm just so excited that you're here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I
We're
can't
big Crystal fans.
we're big Crystal fans. I just like every time we chat, it's just like good vibes and there's always some like aha moments and insights that come out of it. So for our listeners, can you give a brief description of what you do? How do you sort of like describe or categorize your business, whether it's healing, self-care, self-discovery? Like, how do you describe everything that you do and all of your magic to other people?
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a very interesting. I haven't had it posed to me that way before. Pressure. No, I'm just kidding. First and foremost, I'm a psychic medium. And what my calling is here in this lifetime is to support spiritual entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs that are in transition from more of that kind of like mindset, mind driven base. Maybe we just left corporate and we're still trying to do corporate things in our own business, but we're feeling really called by the soul to do what we're doing. And those in transition of, I really feel called to lean more into the intuitive side, the soul side of how I navigate things in my business. So I support those people, soulpreneurs. And gosh, how I do that, there's different programs that I have that are teaching from very basic level of I'm brand new. I don't really know even how to access my intuition to advanced psychic certification because spoiler alert, your psychic connection is your intuition. It's the same channel for everything. So whether you're a healer or an intuitive coach or you're a medium or you're like it's all coming from the same place. So I focus on teaching how to hone that, how to lean into that, how to remove the brain noise so that you can really step fully into your highest timeline and alignment in your business and what you're here to do.
Amazing. I mean, I just love how you package that, right? Like that your intuition and your psychic ability is the same and that's something that everyone can access, right? It's not something that is like just a chosen few, which I think can be like a misconception. And as you work with people on that, can you go a little bit further into just describing what mediumship is like for you? There's people talk about clairs, people talk about there's a lot of ways to describe, but can you give a brief overview of how it works for you and then also what you help activate in your clients?
Yeah. So for me, I have all of my clairs activated. So the way that my guides bring information to me for other clients is in the way that I'm going to best be able to then relate it to them. So if I have a client sitting in front of me and I could definitely tell them something that was coming in that was just like an audible hearing, but that person will be more impacted by it being this like felt sense. They're going to bring in a very physical felt sense for me and I will relay that as though you're like, writing a fantasy novel or like being very descriptive, right? And helping them to understand what it is that I'm experiencing. So there's, all sorts of different clairs. Most people know about clairvoyance, which is seeing. So it's like looking at a movie, right? There's claircognizance, which a lot of people have. And they don't, this is my favorite clair because it's just the ability to know something without knowing how you know it. And so many people have this, and we think that we're just coming up with things from our brain, and it's not our brain 9 out of 10 times. It's crazy. There's clairsentience, which is like the felt sense. There's clairs around smelling things and tasting things. I mean, there's so many different ways that the world of spirit can communicate with us. But really what they do, especially for beginners, they're going to communicate with you in the best way that they can get through, period. So what I help my clients do is establish first and foremost, how are you receiving messages? What's your strongest clair? What's your strongest gift in terms of, and that doesn't mean that's always where it's going to stay, but that's where we can start, because that's a safe place for you to start feeling into the trust and faith that what you're getting, that there's something to it, instead of just being like, well, that was ironic. Or, oh, well, yeah, I was thinking that. So no wonder this happened, because our biggest hurdle is our brain. It's our brain believing that what's happening is supernatural. Feels very weird to say that word, but that's the word my guides are using. So that's what we're going to say here. But it's getting the brain on board and having the brain feel confident, trusting in faith of what's coming through, because no matter what, when you start to develop these gifts, they start to come in much stronger. You start to receive more automatically. You become aware of what you're receiving in the first place and what you have been receiving, that you are just kind of like shutting off or attributing it to something else. But also what you start receiving becomes more, there's more weight to it.
Really quickly, I wanted to hop in here and tell you something that you probably already know if you're listening to this podcast, but just in case you don't, Katie and I are hosting the first annual Soulward Summit Conference. This is a business conference for mindful leaders, for mindful achievers, for business owners who know that they should listen to their intuition, who know they shouldn't get stuck in hustle culture mode, but sometimes they do, and you want to really incorporate your intrinsic gifts, your own authenticity into your business and your brand and take it to the next iteration of your dream. And so if you're interested, head to soulwardsummit.com and you'll get all of the details there on tickets and ticket options. We hope to see you there.
Right. So before it might have been like, go to this nail salon instead of that one. Oh, I feel like going to this place, right? I don't know why, but I just feel like really called to this place over here. And then it becomes like really serious shit in your business. Close down this offer and create this other thing. And you have to be in a place of confidence and trust and faith in what your connection is bringing through in that soul guidance, so that you can make the big moves, you can make the big leaps, you can make the bold claims without all of the information, because our brain wants all the information, and that is not how this shit works.
Yeah, the brain is like the kid being like, but why? But why? But why? But why?
Yes. So much
Well,
so.
and Katie and I both have ones in our human design.
Me too. I have to find one. Yeah. And so you want all the information. You want to know ahead of time. Like you feel, I see this with line fours too. If you're a line four and you're listening in human design, nothing has gone wrong. But line fours are planners, and they actually have to be able to have some sort of plan to create safety in their body and their nervous system. And if you don't know what the big picture is, or you don't know where it's leading, or you don't have all the information, like we just get in freeze mode. And so it's, how can we bridge that gap between not only you as the human and your connection, but also then your connection and your confidence?
Yeah, 100%. I
That's
mean,
the
I
real
think that
work.
there's just so many ways that, especially when you're first starting out exploring, like first starting out in business and then first exploring your gifts, whether they're happening concurrently or not, there's so much of that internal dialogue of, is this the right thing to do? Is that the right thing? Should I be doing this? And it can be harder, even if you are very in tune with your intuition, to then break apart like what is a brain spinning on versus what is, intuition telling you. And I know for me, claircognizance is the only, well, I've had glimmers of others, but the only one that I've really experienced so far. But it's that, like, the language is not language that I use. I was like, "Oh, that's what that is." I hadn't heard about claircognizance, but it was like, "Oh, that's not a word that's in my vernacular. That where did that come from?" And so I think there's a lot that I'm sure you get into around, like, separating what is a brain thought versus a psychic download, et cetera. You also work with human design. So can you talk a little bit about how, like, those things come together? How are you working with people to explore that? Is it like a long-term one-on-one coaching? Do you do group stuff? What's the core of your business right now, which I know has changed a little in the past couple months, but what does that look like?
So as of today's recording, I have two primary offers in terms of working with me personally outside of readings. I guess I'll touch on the readings real quick because I have regular ass readings, which is just like we're just coming and we're seeing what's here, answering your questions. And then I have what's called the Soulpreneur Business Reading. And this is 90 minutes of me channeling through your next 12 months in business. So I actually just had a call with a client this morning for her soulpreneur business reading, and it's helping you to identify those places that it's time to let go of, identifying the places where new things are coming in, strengthening the strategy. We always talk about like meeting strategy and spiritualness. And what I found is that your guides will give you the strategy. Like, it's not even this old school, like, brain 3D mentality of, "Here's my strategy from my brain." It's literally, "Here's the channeled strategy. This is what's gonna serve your highest alignment." So I have the Soulpreneur Business Reading that maps out your next 12 months in business, and then regular ass readings. That's not how they're called on my website, but that's just what we refer to them as. They're no less fun, but much shorter in length. And then ways to work with me personally, an entry level way, which is more directed towards spiritual entrepreneurs. So these are people that are already aware of their connection, but they're just not seeing the results that they want in their business. And it's for one of two reasons. They're either showing up all the time like they're supposed to and shit's not working, or they're in that whole, well, like it wasn't inspired energy today, or the astrology wasn't right, or like I just wasn't feeling inspired, and blah 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 blah. They're doing that. And bottom line in Phoenix Rising, what we're doing is we're hitting on the exact blocks that are for each individual person that they're facing in their business, and helping them to move through those very quickly, facing them head on so that they can come into a confident, aligned path of leadership. So they can stop playing small and hiding out, even if it looks like they're online all the time. They're still hiding out of who they really are, and to truly step into the full ownership of their gifts, the confidence in their gifts, because that's what I see in spiritual entrepreneurs. Like, it breaks my heart that there's so many spiritual entrepreneurs out here and they're like doing amazing things in the world, but they don't actually feel confident in their gifts. And Phoenix Rising changes that for them. And then that's actually just a little PSA, since it's as of today's recording, this month, December, this is the last time that I am opening it for one-on-one. And then after the end of this year, it's going to change it to a group program. So the other offer that's not currently out there in the ethers yet, but it does exist, is a 12-month VIP experience. And this is positioned for the entrepreneur that's bridging that gap. They're moving from more of this 3D kind of like mindset space, and they're really wanting to bring in their intuitive connection, their intuitive guidance into their business. So we spent a full 12 months. This is like me working one-on-one with you consistently every single week, unlimited Voxer support, where I'm not only training you in psychic intuitive development, but I'm also teaching you how to incorporate that into your business, how to become confident in that connection, really laying the groundwork and the foundation for you to harness that connection, learn the difference between brain and guidance, and to reposition your business in the way that it's truly calling.
That's amazing.
That was a lot. I have courses too, but like those are all they're all designed around either human design or very specifically psychic development.
I love it. So many ways to like work with you, and I it's interesting to watch your evolution of moving more towards like group program and VIP. Like it's so cool.
Thank you.
Well, Crystal, are you up for a few fun rapid fire lightning round questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. What is your favorite warm beverage right now?
Ooh, coffee. But it has to have peppermint syrup in it. That's my only
Oh, she was going to be a purist, and then she gave us a little twist. I like the peppermint syrup a lot.
my favorite.
Current Netflix or podcast binge?
Ooh, a podcast. I love Stacey Bayman. She has a Make Money as a Life Coach podcast, but her brain is fucking brilliant. It is gold for anyone, no matter what industry you're in. I love it.
I don't know that one.
It's so good.
I don't know that one either. I've got a 9-hour drive coming up, so I'll be adding that to the queue.
She is amazing. Amazing.
Last book you read that you couldn't put down?
Okay, Crescent City by Sarah Mass.
Moss.
Yes, yeah. Crescent City.
Favorite self-care or spiritual hygiene ritual?
Oh, okay. So self-care, I came across this Daily Comfort by Crystal organic skin line, and it's incredible. I love it so much. And you can feel the energy when you use it. So I love that. And then spiritual practice is stillness. Literally just being still for a few minutes a day, not asking questions of my guides, just like stillness.
How do you get most of your clients?
A referral, actually.
One thing you wish you knew before you started your business?
Stop letting the brain in at all. And okay, this is the two answers. Sorry, I know you said rapid fire. I'm so bad at this, but go for it. Because when I first started my business, I was like, oh, I can't show this side of me. Just go for it. Do the damn thing.
That is a thing that I think a lot of people can relate to. Best life advice you have ever received?
Trust yourself.
Amazing. That's it. Rapid fire. So good. I love doing those to just get a different feel from everyone, but they're often not rapid fire. I'm the same. I'm very verbose. So it's like the one word answers. It's not it. So let's take it back sort of before, because obviously there's been a path to where you are now. So can you tell me a little bit about how you first experienced mediumship? When did you start learning human design? Like give like the highlight reel of the steps that you took from not having this business to now suddenly having, not suddenly, but having this business.
Ultimately, it started with my spiritual awakening, which started with me just being so fed up with my shit. I was a really negative person, negative mindset, and I was just tired of being that way. And so it was a slow progress of I didn't realize that I was going through an awakening as I was going through it, but it just started with me really taking care of my mindset more, paying attention to my mindset more. And then that opened me up to so many things in the spiritual space that I wasn't even aware of. You know, the little nuggets along the way that the universe is always giving us. When it came to starting this business, it was a dark night of the soul situation. I had left corporate to go run my own life coaching business. And then as soon as I quit my fucking job, like within a month, I had no clients, and it didn't make any logical sense. I was like, they were lined up at the door and then nothing. And so I went back to corporate, was miserable, but I was also grateful because it was several months. And then I found a job and I was like, okay, I'm just going to be grateful. This is okay. And then, of course, that lasted all of 2 months, which felt like 10 years. And I was like, this is soul sucking. What is happening? Am I just going to be stuck in this forever? And I ended up booking a reading. It was my second reading ever, but I ended up booking a reading and I was like, I can't take this anymore. Just tell me what the fuck I'm here to do. I'm done. I'm done. Just tell me, because I can't live like this anymore. I feel like I'm meant for something else. And she goes, I think that you would be good going to mediumship development. And I was like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. I don't care. Which in my first reading with her, she's like, you know, you could do what I do. And I had a reading with her because I wanted to confirm that leaving my job was the right move, right? It was in all the need for the answers back then. And she told me back then, you could do what I do. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's nice. But no, thanks. Like, I'm going to go be a life coach. And so anyway, cut to literally 6 months later. I'm like, what am I here to do? She tells me to look at mediumship development. The universe dropped a live program, a group program for mediumship development in my lap. I still to this day don't even know how it ended up in my email list or in my email inbox, And I was like, all right, I'm doing it. Let's go. And so in January of the following year, I started mediumship development. We were assigned practice partners each week, so 2 practice partners a week. I'd never done anything like this before, or at least I thought I had it. I've been like doing tarot readings and shit on Etsy, but I was like, it's the cards. It's the
On
like,
Etsy.
yeah. I had no idea. And the second week in, I went to show up for my virtual practice reading and I did a reading. We were only supposed to do it for 15 minutes. And I was like, I just want to see how long I could go. Do you have time? And I ended up going for an hour and I got done and she goes, do you know what just happened? And I said, I gave you a reading. Didn't resonate. Is it right? And she goes, that was psychic. Because we were actually doing mediumship development, which was like connecting with past souls. And I was like, holy shit. And then it was just over from there. I never completed the course, but I definitely showed up for practice readings every week. And it was probably a week after that that my guides came in super strong and were like, this is happening. You're going, open up the Instagram account. Let's go. And that was all she wrote. It was crazy.
Your guide's just beating down your door, being like, we've been waiting.
Every time I was like, shut up. I don't know what's putting these weird thoughts in my head. This is crazy.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So that was a mediumship course. And that's like sort of what you would call like the training that you had to get to this point, but you became like self-taught midway through basically, right? Well, I guess guys
Yeah, like we
taught through your
didn't even
guides.
finish the second week. Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those things because this was really centered around mediumship development and just connecting on that side. And I never went into finish the rest of the training. It was just kind of like, no, the psychic work is where I'm at. And from there on out, it's been a really beautiful partnership with my guides in expanding my gifts and stepping into it, ultimately teaching others psychic development.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool.
So, how has your business evolved since that initial structure?
It's been in a lot of ways, there's components that still remain the same, although they've deepened, if that makes sense. In fact, one of the first offers that I was guided to create back then was Phoenix Rising, but it looked very different than it does today. And when it came back around to come back into reality, I was like, wait, what? But it was just like an expansion of the knowledge. Back then, it was more of like just helping people feel confirmed and affirmed in the things that they were getting. And my business has like drastically transitioned from instead of me being here as your human Zoltar machine, let me help you serve yourself, right? Let me help you establish this connection and feel confident in it. And yes, I can be here to affirm when you need it, but not when you don't, right? And to truly help you harness and establish that for yourself. Once I stepped away from more of that like human Zoltar machine and stepped into the psychic development mentorship area, that drastically shifted my business because I think it was at that point where my guides brought that in and I said yes to it. Because that's the thing. We can run by soul guidance all we want, but ultimately our human is the last stop on the line that has to say yes or no to any given thing that comes in. And when I said yes to that, it was really this transition from me seeing myself as, oh, I'm a psychic medium and this is fun, to this is my calling and this is what I'm here to do. And I'm going to help set the standard and like the tone for the integrity and the value in the industry of what this can do. Because I see a lot of, unfortunately, harmful practices, dangerous practices, just not integral practices. And I think it's really important that we change the narrative around this work.
I think human Zoltar machine has to be my new favorite expression.
I'm literally like, I'll take your quarter, but I'm not giving you a wish.
Well, and it's the whole teaching someone how to fish versus
Yes.
giving them a fish, right?
Yeah. And that's really what it's about. I think that when each of us individually can stand for ourselves in whatever capacity that is, that's where we really, it's like that internal, it's the internal work, right? in whatever capacity, self-love, internal validation, like it's us. It's not constantly seeking outside of us. And we're preparing for a planetary shift where that's going to be required.
So, this is not, as we can all attest, this is not an easy path. It's constantly evolving. What has your biggest challenge been just in the last year in building your business?
Well, personally for me, I had a big challenge this year from my guides, which was to claim what I want, which sounds so simple, but 4
And
years
hard.
ago, it is hard. I used to be the person that always wanted the answers, that always wanted the guidance, that thought that if I could just have the answer, then I'd have the confidence to do what I needed to do to make the moves. And when I hit that breaking point, and I was like, this can't be all there is. What am I here? I also made an agreement with my soul, like, I'm done asking. I'm done. And so it's been 4 years straight of me never once asking for answers, for information, for guidance, for literally refusing to ask and just simply allowing. Like, trusting that no matter what, when I agree to follow where my soul is calling me, I'll get where I'm going, even if I don't know where that is. Like, that's not my business, that's my soul's business. And this year, my guides asked me to claim what I want. And I was like, that's crazy. I want to follow the call of my soul. I'm doing that. I'm happy to do this. I feel fulfilled. I feel very content with my life and my business. And they kept pushing, and it got really fucking uncomfortable. And it got to the place where they started bringing in things that I, of course, would willingly follow, but they did it on purpose to get me to a position where I'm like, I don't fucking want this. Like, I don't want this. And so that was not fun for me. It was not fun, but it was so powerful and I needed it. And it brought me to that moment where I was finally able to access what I actually wanted. And what I wanted was to focus more on the psychic development, being in this space, being that business visionary, being doing this work, which they kind of like veered me off for a bit, brought me more into other elements and other places. And the minute that I claimed that, it was wild because I claimed it. I said it out loud. I could feel that change in my soul. And then I sent out an email to my list and I started fucking signing clients again in this space that I had kind of neglected for many months because I was trying to just follow where I was called and refusing to claim what I wanted. So that's been the biggest challenge this year. But the secondary challenge to that has been all of the brain thoughts that come up with what do all these changes look like to my audience? Are they going to be okay with this? Are they going to have thoughts? Are they going to, veer away? Or are they going to come back? Are they, all of the things. And the biggest thing that's just continued no matter where my business is taking me, because it is crazy because I am running from soul guidance. So and I'm a manifesting generator. So we are all over the place. Okay. What's happening? And ultimately, the biggest thing that's supported me through that is I am willing to follow the guidance more than I'm willing to be afraid. Like, I go even when. If my soul is calling me somewhere, I show up for it, scared all the fucking time. But that is stronger. My belief, my faith, my confidence, my trust in my connection is stronger than any single fear that I have, and all of them all together. So, whatever people think, well, they'll get glad in the same pants they got mad in. Like, that's what my grandma used to say.
I love that saying. So good.
So, yeah.
Oh my God. It sounds like it's so interesting when you first look at the no's to get to the yes. It's so hard to pull that yes like out of nowhere, right? To be like, what do I want? Well, then you start to the brain takes over, right? Well, I could be happy doing X, Y, and Z, rationalizing like all the things that you could do, that you could enjoy, that you could find or think that you could find fulfillment or happiness doing. And it's sometimes so much easier to start with the no's, right? Well, I know I don't want to do that. Or this
Yes,
doesn't feel
it's
good
so
anymore.
helpful.
The this doesn't feel good anymore is so such good data. I know Marie and I have talked about this extensively. We've both had moments, especially in the last year, of this isn't it anymore. This is a no. We're moving this off. And then what then goes in the yes pile. And so I think that's a really interesting way that your guides presented. Do you think that you needed that exploration to trust the yes to push you towards the yes?
100%. And, it's so interesting because everybody thinks that, oh, if I get the guidance, let's say the guidance is like, go make this offer in your business, right? Or go create this offer. Our mind, our human brain is going to be like, oh, well, my guides told me to do this. So it's going to equal success. It's going to equal all the clients. It's going to equal this. No, maybe, but it's never actually about that. Maybe it's you go create this offer and it doesn't work and you fail, which in my world, there is no such thing as failure. And actually, you should want to fail because that is how you get to where you're going, right? It's like finding the nose, right? But the mind wants that surety that this is what this means. It thinks very linearly. And the no isn't the no. Just because your guides are like, go do this thing, and your brain's like, oh, it's going to mean a yes. And you go to the thing and it turns out to be a no. The no is never about the no. It's about who you become moving through the no so that you can get to the yes. And if people can just stop thinking in black and white in every which way in their lives, they open themselves up to so many more possibilities. Like you have to be willing to get it wrong to get it right. And I think that's been my biggest gift that I've given myself and my clients is there is no getting it wrong. Follow where you're guided and see where it takes you. There's always something in there. There's a challenge, a lesson, a blessing, and an opportunity in every single thing in life. And when you can look at it that way, it makes you willing to go, even if it's going to fail. Like I had several months this year that were $0 months. And I also wasn't worried about it because I could feel deep down that this wasn't it. This wasn't the end of the track, right? And so I just kept following where I was guided. And yeah, the mind might be like, well, we wasted a lot of time. No, actually, we learned so much about ourselves during that time. And we needed that because, quite frankly, I am very stubborn. And I was not willing, nor did I have the ability at that point after going 4 years without accessing any desires, any wants, just being like, I'm totally open. We see this a lot in the spiritual space, right? This, let me just be grateful. Yeah, be grateful, but also what do you want? And I needed that. I needed to get to the no. It's not, it's not all roses. But pain can feel really good. Maybe that's the Scorpio coming out of me, but pain can feel really good. Okay.
There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of learning in pain for sure. I think one of the things my brain always attaches to, which is definitely corporate America conditioning, is it's not even just I want to know what's going to happen, but I want to know the timeline. I want to know. And so releasing that, I think, is a whole part of this work. So moving into just feeling into the what's next instead of be like, okay, I remember when I left corporate America and I was like, I'm going to start this new business. It's going to have something to do with astrology. I didn't have all the answers, but I was like, I was, I was like, I have a path, but I was like, I'm going to have a little bit, I know how to make businesses. I've made so many businesses. Like I'm going to have a business up and running in 6 months. Well, I was like very attached to a timeline. No, changing your whole life takes more than 6 months. Okay. Like changing how you have operated for 36 years takes more than 6 months. Like I was absolutely delusional, but it was that brain overtaking into, okay, well, just because you have a next step, now you have, an outcome and a timeline and a like all this other stuff, which is not actually real. That is just guesswork. It's perception. It's your brain trying to create safety because it is
100. Yeah. And you have to, in order to truly align yourself with running your life, your business by soul guidance, you have to release the attachment. Like you have to. And it's an ever evolving process. Like I'll get to a new level in my business or I'll get to a new level in my relationship to my guides. And I am consistently, intentionally showing up to release. Like release the attachment, release the control.
Oh, so good. I also feel like, I mean, I'm getting a lot that's resonating deeply with me. I'm also a 5/1, but I'm a manifester. Maria's a manifesting generator. She's a Scorpio. I've got a Scorpio moon. Like, I feel like a combination of the two of us.
Perfect. I love it. No wonder we all get along.
Really, truly.
So good.
I also think the one thing I was going to say, I didn't want to interrupt the both of you, is that what do I want is like the hardest question. Because, well, I mean, maybe not because, number one, as women, as we're so used to traditionally, societally, whatever, giving and doing that stopping to think, what do I want, to me as a responder is just like a blank piece of paper. And it's like, I don't know. I know what I don't want. If you give me options, I can tell you if I don't want it. But to say, what do I want is such an intimidating question to me.
It's huge. I mean, we all do that, especially like you said, like it's definitely women are at a disadvantage for this. And even this morning, it's the simple things in life too that we don't even think about, the ways that we just kind of like give up, what we want. I made 4 loaves of pumpkin bread this week for splitting between my husband and one here for me at home, and then my kids going to school with their lunches. And I had them all sliced up and divvied out so that there were 15, because I have 3 kids, so 15 lunches this week. And someone has been eating them as snacks when they come home from school, because I noticed this morning when I was packing lunches that we are a couple shy to get through the end of the week. And my first thought was, I'll just slice some up of my loaf and give it to them. And I'm like, but I don't want to. But it's so hard. Like we're so used to just kind of like accepting the last little pieces for ourselves of what's left over, or if there's anything left over just in life in general. And then when it comes to our business, asking ourselves what we want, we're worried about how it's going to fit the mold for everything else and everyone else around us. Versus the day that awareness and that awakening came through, I literally spent like an hour walking around our property ranting to my guides of like, how dare you ask me what I want? I don't fucking know what I want. So I don't even know. Like, why would I know what I want? And just like literally purging all of my thoughts, all of my feelings, like just saying everything. And that created the space for me to finally say it. And it happened on accident. I was like voice messaging a friend about my rant and like that I just ranted. And then I was like, I don't know what I want. What I want is this. And it came out and I was like, oh, there it is. So sometimes we shove so much down, or we suppress it, or we don't even acknowledge it because there's not time, or there's other things that we're dealing with, or there's other things that we're taking care of or focusing on in our business. And if everything's working, why fuck it up? And sometimes that's exactly what we need. It's everything that we need. And it's not actually fucking it up. It's actually aligning it to what it was always meant to be in the first place.
Oh, I love a tower card, tear it down to realign moment.
It was a 5 for me in numerology. And let me tell you, what is today? December 11th. I'm done. I used to never be bothered by 5s. They were like my favorite, actually. And, it's been tower moment after tower moment. And I'm like, I am ready for, where's the one where I just float down the stream? What card is that? Give me a canoe also, because I just don't want to be bothered by half of my body being cold and half of it being warm. So let's find that card. But it's all good. It's taking us to the next place, right? Tower card moments are really powerful.
Yeah, there's always another step. There's always another step on the journey.
We're never done.
Outcomes are a lie.
They really are, because it's just the next step for the next part, right?
Yeah.
Everything's leading us somewhere.
Oh my God, so amazing. Well, where can people find more of what you do? Where can they reach you to get access to these amazing programs you have going on? Where Instagram, website, we'll link everything. Let us know.
Instagram's my jam. I have my personal brand page, which is the Freedom Medium. And then Starting in January, we have some exciting things coming for the Institute for Higher Healing, which is a whole other sector of my business, but they can follow it over there. And my website is thefreedommedium.com.
Amazing. And you're going to be running a workshop at Soulward Summit that we were just talking about. So, can you, in March, in person in Nashville, can you tell us a little bit more about what that's going to look like? And I would also love to hear, I think we're going to air this beginning of January. So I would love to hear if there's a message for to connect with your people that need to be in that room with you for this workshop at the summit.
Okay, that wants to come through first. So I'll bring that through. As soon as you were saying it, they're like, we have something. I'm like, all right. Okay.
I was gonna say if you have something, but I knew it wasn't an if. It's a it's a what.
Brilliant. Okay, so what my guides are bringing through in regards to people that are coming into this workshop. Number one, you are someone that feels like you've tried everything and it's not fucking working. And you're over it and you're feeling really disheartened. And you're probably even coming to this summit a little bit nervous of like, am I wasting my time? Am I wasting my money? Am I wasting my energy? Because I just don't even know. I've been trying this and it's not working. And like, maybe I should just give up. This is for you. Okay. All right. That's their message.
Love
And
it.
then in regards to what they've shown me for this workshop, this is about me showing you a very easy, accessible way to connect to your guides in less than 5 minutes a day so that you can establish that connection and be able to start working in that way for yourself to be guided to the things that you're intuitively called to in your business. This thing alone that I'm going to teach you is this process. It's something that completely changed my connection and took it from this second guessing and wondering, does it work? Will it work? Am I sure it's going to work? To very, very solidified confidence, faith, and trust. Like it's a whole different feeling. You can literally feel the energy running through your body. So I'm going to teach you that. But then we're going to take it a step further. Number one, I'm going to help you connect to the goals that you have set for yourself for 2025. And we're going to do it as a group activity. So if you come to my workshop, be prepared to not just sit on your ass because it's going to be active, but you will be standing during this portion. I'm going to teach you a process that my guides have shown me. I've seen it happening during the workshop where we're going to take the goals that you currently have. And even if you're like, I don't even know what goals anymore, I'm just over it. Trust me, what they're going to do for you in this, it will work. So you don't necessarily have to know what you have planned for the year, but we're going to show you the missing gaps, the missing pieces, and what's actually possible and available for you now. Because so often we overestimate what we can do in a year and we underestimate what we can do beyond that. And we get attached to the timelines, we get attached to the outcomes, we get attached to the control of how it all turns out. And this visualization, this guided experience is going to bring you into congruency with what's actually available for you right now, today, as of the workshop. And then to tie a little bow on it, I'm going to teach you how to connect to your guides in that moment during the workshop and identify what the biggest block is that's actually holding you back, that's actually preventing you from experiencing success right now in your business. Because I've seen a time, I've run these workshops again and again, and every single time a client comes to me and they think this is my problem and this is the root cause. And it is so much simpler than that. It's not even remotely close to what they think it is. And it's easy, it's tangible, and you will leave that with tangible, actionable steps directly from your guides of what you can do today to start turning things around.
Oh, full body chills. Full body chills. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to be in that room. It's going to be so amazing. Thank you so much, Crystal, for the conversation. Of course, I just looked at the clock. It's 2:22. We love a validation.
Yeah. I love it. Perfect.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the summit.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We hope you loved that conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review this episode. We appreciate it so much, and we will see you next time.